Here we go.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rasdiansyah, as the first speaker from Group 4, and we will explain about subject of research within psycholinguistics and pioneers of psycholinguistics. The first, psycholinguistic understanding. Psycholinguistics is a combination of both psychology and linguistics. Psycholinguistics describe the psychological process when a person utters a sentence while communicating, and how language skills are acquired. And then research subjects in psycholinguistics are people of various background and age. While the psycholinguistic object is language, mental symptoms, and the relationship between them. Language that is processed in the human psyche, which stem from a psychological aspect, namely the language process that occur in the brain, but in the speaker brain and the listener brain. Next, furthermore, there is a tool used in psycholinguistics, of which cassette can be used in observation research to record and analysis the record result to be used as an observation material of and on a study. Good picture. The media used to hear process of speaking in children by showing the image from the child is told dimension, the name of the image. Next, the list mufradat is a list of vocabulary used in various teaching language. Of ADD new vocabulary. Then evaluation or test used to know the level of one's ability, and this can be done from various media. Okay, next, the important aspect of psycholinguistics among others, that is competence, language process in communication and mind, acquisition, language of language, performance, speaking behavior or speaking, verbal association and problem of meaning, the language process in abnormal people, perception of the heart and cognition, and the latter is language learning. I will explain two aspects, that is The first performance is also influenced by their home environment. And the last, language acquisition in abnormal people usually use manual communication and body language to convey meaning. I think that's all for me. Thanks for attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nasria as a second speaker from Group 3, and now I'm going to continue explanation by my friend Rasdiansa. The first page is method used in psycholinguistic research. As you can see in here, there are three methods used in psycholinguistic research. The first is observation method. Psycholinguistic observation describe about language behavior in its original order. Observation methods are usually entered into the linguistic category based on the level of observation intervention. Jadi, metode observasi ini lebih kepada metode yang digunakan untuk mendeskripsikan perilaku berbahasa pada tatanan bahasa yang asli. The second is longitudinal study or follow-up method. The longitudinal method is used to obtain reliable information about how children behave at different ages, how they differ in age levels, and how they grow and develop. It is used to examine how the development of speech, the approach of sounds from year to year, for example, the development of children from 3 until 8 years old. Jadi, longitudinal study ini adalah metode yang digunakan untuk mendapatkan informasi secara akurat tentang pertumbuhan dan perkembangan pada individu secara bertahap. Dan biasanya metode ini berfokus hanya pada satu subjek saja atau satu orang saja. The third method is the cross-sectional study method. The cross-sectional study method is a study to learn the dynamic of the correlation between risk factors and effect by means of an observation approach or data collection at once or point-time approach. That is, each research subject is observed only once and measurements are made the character status or subject variables at the time of examination to investigate subject of different age at the same time. Jadi singkatnya, the cross-sectional study ini adalah metode yang digunakan untuk meneliti subjek dari berbagai tingkatan, dari berbagai usia pada waktu yang bersamaan. Next, pioneers of psycholinguistic. In its development, there are several leading pioneers of psycholinguistic. These experts study linguistics psychologically and psychology linguistically. The first is experts study linguistics psychologically. Here there are 5 pioneers, but sorry, I don't know how to pronounce their name well, so sorry. The first is Edward Sapir. Edward Sapir is an American scholar of linguistics and anthropology. According to Sapir, psychology to provide a solid basis for language study. Sapir has also tried to study the relationship between language and thought, and the conclusion is that language affect the human mind. Jadi Edward ini seorang ilmuwan linguistik dan antropologi dari Amerika yang mengatakan bahwa bahasa itu memiliki efek kepada pikiran. The second is Wilhelm von Humboldt. Wilhelm was a German linguist who tried to study the relationship between language and thought. Wilhelm compared the grammar of different languages and compared the behavior of two language conformers, and the result showed the language determines the view of a particular society. Jadi, Wilhelm ini adalah seorang ilmuwan linguistik yang berasal dari Jerman yang mencoba melakukan penelitian hubungan antara bahasa dan pemikiran. The third is Otto Jespersen. Jespersen is a Danish linguist. According to Jespersen, language is a human function as a symbol in the human brain that symbolizes the mind. According to Jespersen, communication must be seen from a behavioral point of view. Even a word can be compared with habitual behavior. Jadi Jespersen ini adalah seorang ilmuwan linguistik yang berpendapat bahwa bahasa itu adalah simbol dari pemikiran manusia. The fourth is Leonard Bloomfield. Leonard is a linguist from the United States. He argues that language is an expression of experience that are born from very strong emotional stress. Jadi Leonard ini seorang ilmuwan yang berasal dari Amerika Serikat yang berpendapat bahwa bahasa itu berasal dari tekanan emosional yang sangat kuat. And the last is Ferdinand de Saussure. Ferdinand is a Swiss linguist has tried to explain what language really is and how the state of language in the brain. He has introduced 3 language behaviors which he refers to as parole, langue, and language. And because basically everything in language is psychological. Jadi Ferdinand ini seorang ilmu linguistik yang berasal dari Swiss yang menganggap bahwa segala bentuk bahasa itu merupakan bagian dari psikologikal. Okay, next. Expert study psychology linguistically. Here there are 8 pioneers, and the first is John Dewey. John Dewey is an American psychologist who has studied language and its development by interpreting the linguistic analysis of childhood language on the basis of psychological principles. In this way, based on the principle of psychology, it will be possible to determine the comparison between on the one hand to another. Jadi, John Dewey ini adalah seorang ahli psikologi Amerika yang mengkaji bahasa dan perkembangannya berdasarkan prinsip-prinsip psikologi. The second is Wood. Wood is a German psychologist. According to Wood, language was originally born in the form of gestures that were used to unconsciously express very strong feelings. So, according to Wood, every language consists of the utterance of sound on other signs that can be understood through the 5 senses which are manifest by muscle movement to convey mental state, concept, and feeling to others. Jadi Wood adalah seorang ahli psikologi Jerman. Jadi menurut Wood, setiap bahasa terdiri atas ucapan, bunyi, atau isyarat-isyarat lain yang dapat dipahami menembus panca indera yang diwujudkan oleh gerakan-gerakan otot untuk menyampaikan keadaan batin, konsep-konsep, dan perasaan kepada orang lain. The third is Cizner. Cizner, a British psychologist who became the American people, described and spread Wood's idea to the United States, which become known as the psychology of consciousness or psychology of interpretation. The introduction and dissemination of the theory of interpretation then spread a psychological revolution in American Union with the development of the theory of behaviorism in which consciousness had been removed from psychology and from language study. Jadi Cizner ini adalah seorang ahli psikologi yang berasal dari Inggris yang menggambarkan dan menyebarluaskan ide dari Wood ke Amerika Serikat. And the fourth is Kautor. Kautor is an American behavior psychologist. According to Kautor, language is an area of collective word that can be studied by both psychologists and linguists. Jadi, Kautor adalah seorang ahli psikologi behaviorisme yang berasal dari Amerika. Menurut Kautor, bahasa merupakan bidang garapan bersama yang dikaji oleh ahli psikologi maupun ahli bahasa. The fifth is Carroll. Carroll is an is a United States psychologist who is now one of the leading figures of modern psycholinguistics. He developed a theory which says that the linguistic response must first play a role in a state of cause so that something explains something else by means of mediation. Jadi Caro adalah seorang ahli psikologi Amerika Serikat yang sekarang menjadi salah satu tokoh psikolinguistik yang modern. Next is Waston. Waston is an American psychologist. In Waston's view, language behavior is tantamount to the nervous muscle system in the head, neck, and chest of humans. Jadi, Waston adalah seorang ahli psikologi Amerika Serikat yang dalam pandangannya bahasa itu sama saja dengan sistem otot syaraf yang berada di dalam kepala. Next is Bahler. Bahler is a psycholinguist from Germany. According to Bahler, there is another very different function of language that cannot be incorporated into the expression movement, namely coordination or harmonization. So, a name is coordinates with the content or meaning content. Jadi, Bahler adalah seorang ahli psikologi dari Jerman yang menganggap bahwa fungsi bahasa itu sangat berkoordinasi dengan penyelarasan pikiran. And the last is Weiss. Weiss is an American psychologist known for his close association with Watson, who has described the close collaboration between psychology and linguistics. Weiss considers that language is a form of behavior when a person adapts himself to the social environment. Weiss is a character who paved the way toward the birth of the psycholinguistic discipline. Jadi, Weiss adalah seorang ahli psikologi yang berasal dari Amerika yang terkenal sealiran dengan Watson, yang telah menggambarkan kerjasama yang erat antara ilmu psikologi dan ilmu linguistik. And the last is, we took 3 reference sources from the internet for make our PowerPoint or our presentation. And this is their link. So I think that's all for me. Thanks for your attention. Stay safe and keep healthy everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.